My name is Douglas Miles. I'm from San Carlos, Arizona, and I'm the founder of Apache Skateboards. My connection to skateboarding culture probably goes back to when I was a kid myself. I was 12, and one of my best friends down the street had a skateboard. And I remember I said, let me try it, and I tried it, and then it was a lot of fun. So I told my mom, I said, Mom, can you get me one of these? Because Steve has one, and I want one like that. So fast forward in the story, 25 years later, I have a son of my own, Douglas Miles Jr., and he got into skateboarding. And then I remember as he got into it, I remembered how much fun that was. So I think that was the second connection for me. My son Doug really got into skateboarding. He had some friends in San Carlos on the res that were into skateboarding, and there were older guys too that were into it too, and I would watch them. But Doug was really into it, so of course I supported him. We supported him, me and his mom, and we bought him the skateboards and we bought him the magazines, and if he wanted videos, we got those things for him. He broke his board, and I know we were at the mall because we live about 2 hours from the mall. And he said, Dad, I need a skateboard. And I remember I was looking on the wall at the ones with full color name brand boards. And they're like $55. And I pulled out my wallet, and I remember like counting my money. I was like, I don't have enough for that, but I had enough for a blank one. I said, Doug, let me buy you that blank one, and I'll paint it when I get home. He goes, that's fine, Dad. I just need a board. So he wasn't like complaining because he didn't get the board he wanted. He just needed the board. By then, he's really into it, and he just knew that he just wanted to keep skating at that point. So when I got home, I painted a little Apache Warrior on it, and I kind of knew what was going to happen. I said, here you go, and I knew it was going to happen. When he came back, I said, what did your friends say? And he said, Dad, everybody wants one. I think it's taken hold for a couple of reasons, really, but I really think it's because of the work of Doug as a skater who skates constantly, who's been skating constantly in San Carlos for almost 20 years, literally. He and the Apache Skateboards team have been instrumental in pushing skate culture, quote unquote. We don't have pro skaters that come to our reservation, very, very few. They go to highly populated areas. They almost never come to, a rural community or let alone an Indian reservation. But not saying that they haven't. We are friends with, different companies and brands now, and they have come, but, that's not normal. But I think it's really because of Doug and the Apache Skateboards team. And I also think, secondly, the Apache Skateboards brand and the art around Apache Skateboards is so very tribal, Native American, and Apache specific that it's something that no one had ever really seen. No Native kids had ever seen a Native skateboard brand. Native communities had never seen kids in a group and as a team promoting and having fun skateboarding. And I think the art in and around and of Apache Skateboards has, in collaboration with the skate team, because they're riding the boards, it has my art, that has created a great interest in skateboarding alone. And I think it caused kids in our community to look at it as this is just another cool way to have fun. This looks challenging. I think also because skateboarding is a very kind of it's something that it's a non-traditional type of sport to do. Skateboarding doesn't have a lot of rules, so to speak. There's not a court, there's not umpires, there's not referees. It's almost kind of sort of run by the kids themselves. So there's that. I think Desert Rider, the show itself, it's important for people to look at the cultures here in the Southwest, and especially a culture, of skateboarding, but how Apache Skateboards has seamlessly blended skateboarding and with an Apache ethos. We blended it seamlessly. There's really no kind of beginning or starting point. And I think that's part of the mystery, but part of the genius of Apache Skateboards too, is that we took something that people don't normally look at as part of native culture, and we made it our own. We made it part of native culture just by doing it. But on the other hand, I have a saying, a true and a living culture doesn't just evolve. A true and a living culture actually explodes. It will explode into anything that it wants to become, because the culture, a true and living culture, which is populated by people and by generations of people, demands new things. A true and living culture demands new ideas. Why? So the culture can live on. So the culture can share with other cultures, or so that culture can have a conversation. And these cultures that are being showcased here in Desert Rider in particular, Chicano culture, lowrider culture, comes out of an expression of, Mexican American people wanting to be truly independent and finding an art form to do it. One art form, but there are hundreds of ways to be, an artist now, thousands. And it's the same thing with Apache Skateboards. You have a native community where we are looking for ways to have a real conversation with not just ourself, yes, ourself and our community, but also the outside community, because we too are American. American popular culture influences us too. We don't live in a vacuum. Yes, we live on a reservation, but we don't live in a vacuum. So the work of Apache Skateboards really was kind of a necessary explosion of culture. And also because in the mainstream culture, like I was saying earlier, when I first watched Doug, who was, we were buying him, me and his mom, the magazines, the videos, and the boards when he was younger, I would see a lot of skateboard brands that were using Native American kind of clip art themed, warriors with headdresses. But I always thought, that's not Native American. It's like what people think of as Native American. And I thought, I can do that, and I could do it better because I'm Native American, and I'm also a Native American artist. And so that's when I started to think about creating the brand Apache Skateboards. The brand Apache Skateboards comes from one, seeing there's a need, because when Doug's friends came back and they said, everybody wants one, I thought to myself, okay, how do I do that? It got my mind started to turn. Well, how do I can't paint one for every kid on the res, though I would if I could. So how do I do it? So there was maybe a year or two till I figured out how to mass produce them. And so really Apache Skateboards was really for the Apache community and Apache kids first, to create, Apache kids already have pride, they already have cultural pride, they already know who they are, but I thought this would just give them more pride. It's not like, oh, I need to give you pride, poor Indian kid, you need more pride. It's not even about that. We already have pride. This was just going to give them more. It was just going to give them another way to look at themselves and look at themselves as a strong, important part of the community, and a strong, important part of America, and a strong, important part of American history, because Native American people are an important part of America's history. Regardless of how Hollywood shows us or not, our story is important. And that's why I created Apache Skateboards. We've done so much under the umbrella of Apache Skateboards that I think art organizations, art curators, they don't even know where to start. They don't know how to talk about what we do. Having this kind of conversation with you helps, and of course, having the support of the Phoenix Art Museum is a tremendous help, because it allows us to begin to share and show the depth and the width and the height, literally the height of what we've been doing for 20 years. Well, I felt that because Desert Rider is really looking at an overview of the way that cultures in the Southwest talk about movement. They talk about car culture and what that means to us. But I also felt, because we are in the Southwest too, in particular the Southwest, and really the whole country, is founded by Native American people. It's founded by Native people. You know, we've been here for a long, very long time. Before there was an America, we were here. I also feel that the other reason for sharing this piece is the skateboard industry is very extractive. Skateboard companies and brands and teams will come to a challenge community. It could be East LA, it could be Boyle Heights, it could be Compton, and film and photograph in those communities and leave with all that content, but leave nothing in behind. You know, they're not hiring Black and Chicano or Native people for their brands. And so I thought, well, what is a good way to remind skateboard industry slash culture that you're really on native land. You're skating on native land. You think like, oh, well, I'm just can skate wherever I want because it's a free country. And yeah, but you're not thinking beyond the present. You really need to think about the communities you're going into, and you need to really think about the communities that you're a part of. So when I created, it was really just a skateboard. It started with one skateboard and this phrase, "You're skating on native land." But I thought this is the perfect way to share with skateboarders and skateboarding and the skate industry that you really are skating on native land. And I felt like someone needed to say that, and who better than Apache Skateboards?